Alright, let's dive into something that's been on my mind lately, the future of NASA's Mars exploration. And what better way to talk about the future than by looking at the past? Specifically, the Viking mission from the 1970s. Now, here's the hook: Viking wasn't just a groundbreaking mission, it was also the last major NASA Mars mission for over 2 decades. And today, with the cancellation of the Mars Sample Return program, history might be repeating itself. So, what can we learn from Viking to avoid another 20-year gap? Let's break it down. First, let's set the stage. Viking 1 landed on Mars 50 years ago, and it was a big deal. This wasn't just another mission, it was the first fully successful Mars landing, complete with instruments designed to search for life. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is the sheer audacity of it. NASA took a massive risk, and it paid off. But here's the thing, that success came at a cost. After Viking, NASA didn't send another lander to Mars until 1997. That's a 21-year gap. And if you take a step back and think about it, that's a huge missed opportunity. Mars exploration essentially stalled for a generation. Now, fast forward to today. The Mars Sample Return program, which was supposed to be the next big thing, has been cancelled. And just like with Viking, the reasons boil down to cost, risk, and priorities. In my opinion, this raises a deeper question: is NASA repeating the same pattern? Are we setting ourselves up for another decades-long gap in Mars exploration? What many people don't realize is that these gaps aren't just about missing out on science, they're about losing momentum, expertise, and public interest. Here's where it gets fascinating. Viking was a flagship mission, big, expensive, and high risk. And while it was a success, it also drained resources that could have funded smaller, more frequent missions. Sound familiar? The Mars Sample Return program was shaping up to be another flagship, with costs ballooning into the billions. Personally, I think this highlights a broader issue in space exploration: our obsession with grand, headline-grabbing missions. Don't get me wrong, flagships are important, but they shouldn't come at the expense of sustained, incremental progress. Now, let's talk about the future. NASA has several Mars missions planned for 2028, but none of them are conventional science missions. We've got a communications satellite, a nuclear propulsion demo, and a few smaller projects. From my perspective, this feels like a missed opportunity. Sure, these missions are important, but they're not pushing the boundaries of Mars science in the same way Viking did. What this really suggests is that NASA is spreading itself too thin, focusing on the moon while Mars exploration gets sidelined. One thing that immediately stands out is the lack of clarity beyond 2028. NASA has talked about commercial partnerships, but nothing's been finalized. And with the high cost of projects like State Route 1 Freedom, it's hard not to wonder where the funding for future Mars missions will come from. In my opinion, this is where we need to rethink our approach. Instead of betting everything on a few big missions, why not invest in a steady stream of smaller, more affordable projects? It's not as glamorous, but it's sustainable. Here's a detail I find fascinating: Viking cost around $8.6 billion in today's dollars. That's roughly the same as the Mars Sample Return program. And just like Viking, MSR was cancelled because of its high cost and risk. But here's the kicker: Viking's success came at the expense of a 20-year gap. Are we willing to accept the same trade-off again? Personally, I think we need to find a middle ground, a way to pursue ambitious missions without sacrificing continuity. So, what's the takeaway? In my opinion, the lessons of Viking are clear: big, risky missions can achieve incredible things, but they also come with big risks. If we want to avoid another gap in Mars exploration, we need to balance ambition with sustainability. Maybe that means revisiting the Mars Sample Return program with a more realistic budget. Or maybe it means doubling down on smaller, more frequent missions. Either way, the clock is ticking. And if we're not careful, history might just repeat itself. What do you think? Is NASA making the right call by focusing on the moon? Or should Mars remain the priority? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.